Having overcome the challenges of Hogarth, our band was left adrift in the wind. We needed a goal and ambition. To the north, we could go, to find fortune among a loop of villages. Hage, Hagamus, Sunheim. By completing challenges there, we could stay in a small area to build our rep, and increase our ranks with farmhands and other sturdy soldiers. Randolph the councilman sits down into his chair, laughing to himself as he does it. Don't be alarmed, Sir Sword, but they say ghosts are afoot. Yes, the local peasants are poisoning my mornings with constant talks of ghosts and goblins. They say that the supposed creatures are turning the ceremony upside down, raiding the graves to enlarge their army or some such nonsense. Obviously, it's just the work of some spade-wielding men intent on robbing graves for jewelry. I've seen it before. He looks down at his hands, briefly chuckling. Anyway, I can't just let it rest because these peasants won't get off my back about it. So to ease them, there's you. I need you to go to the cemetery and clear out any troublemakers you find. How you do that is up to you, but I'll go ahead and suggest a good steal if you know what I mean. Let's talk money. He gesticulates with his hands, pointing at his fingers as if counting something, but it means nothing to you. Judging from experience, this is a good payment for the task. It's 600 crowns when the contract is done. It falls to you, the commander, to see that the company succeeds not just on the battlefield, but also in fame and riches. And so you spend the evenings pondering about a bigger plan for the Taxpayer Battalion in your tent, while the men talk and laugh around the fire. You're never going to become a legend simply by chasing brigands and doing small-time contracts. What do you proclaim to the men the company will set out to do? We need allies. Forging a bond of friendship and trust with one of the towns will get the company better prices, more volunteers, and more steady work. Randolph the councilman was right. There have been grave robbers here. You spot a number of tombs turned over and their graves dug up. Mud trails lead you to find the diggers clambering around some new work. Don't mean to stop you boys, but Randolph the councilman is paying pretty well to make sure these people stay in the ground. To arms! Taking a quick look here, we have two major threats, the two-handed axe and the flail. The flail can attack over our shield wall and hit shield users in the head. That means our threat is through the center advance. With no bowmen on their side, we are set to sit back and let them come to us for a line-to-line battle. Shatter their core and begin clean-up operations. Flankers had arrived to threaten our most vulnerable members, but the center formation held a spear wall. Anyone approaching might be bounced back after taking damage. Our swordsmen shield walls to cover the crucial center, while our newcomer whiffs his attack. Ivar slays with good steel, and the dispatching would continue as we continue to work the center down. Our newest farmhand, not yet burdened by equipment, is slain. His name unknown, his legacy forgotten. We break formation in order to begin mopping up operations. We clearly had both numbers, morale, and the weight of our weapons on our side. The constant use of spear wall and attacking had fatigued our men to the point where they could only take one attack. Time had worn us down. At the end of the battle, we accounted for one useless dead man, 5 who had advanced in experience and walked away with great loot, including what would soon be a premium weapon, a 2-handed axe. Randolph the councilman's talking to some of his men when you return to his room. He parts them and asks you of your task. You report that it's again safe to bury Hog's loved ones. Randolph the councilman smiles. Good, your payment. He snaps his fingers, and one of the men steps forward, handing you a satchel. There's 630 crowns in it, as promised. Crowns well deserved. As night began to set outside Hagermoos, east of Hage, we found ourselves in an interesting position. We needed to rest and heal so that one of our members might be fully acquitted in an upcoming battle. We also needed to apply experience gains, training. For many of the men, that would mean that they would attempt to get the best arms and armor skills that they could, and follow it up with talents, training and fast adaptation. Whenever they missed, they would gain a stacking chance to hit. Others would perhaps train in more mundane arts, becoming much stronger and more filled with health, in order to maintain their position as men of the line. Asgeir the Elder is looking at a poorly drawn map, then looks up at you as though you're the one responsible for making it. Look, mercenary, this is a strange thing to task you with, but you seem to have a good head on your shoulders. See this dark spot here? Would you be willing to venture that way and try to find the abandoned remains? It's somewhere at or around the region of Rusty Blade Mesa. What does it pay? He nods. You look able, so I am willing to pay quite a bit. It's 300 crowns when the contract is done. We found ourselves being pursued by webnicked giant spiders. There was little point in fighting beasts. They have no coin, no treasure, no arms or armor. Even the experience would be little worthwhile for the danger they possessed. However, when we find the overgrown hideout, this is an orc area. Orcs are worth quite a bit of money to hunt. Even going out of my way on this job, I could find quite a treasure in their hideout. The math was clear. We had to engage the spiders to buy ourselves breathing room. No tactics were necessary here. A simple rush, a clash of steel. These stupid beasts would fall before the weight of our arms. We continued to hunt for the abandoned remains, but instead, we were the hunted. A group of greenskin hunters had found us first. The battlefield was chaos. We had no order, no lines, and no idea where the enemy might approach. The only strategy is to hedgehog around our vulnerables and lay in wait, then to regain the advantage with overwhelming violence of action. On both fronts, we outnumbered the enemy and held circumstantial advantages. To the north, the strategy would be to smite and lay about our foes using the height advantage and weapon weight. To the south, a spear wall behind shields could wait out bad behavior before flankers moved in and the mopping up began. Unexpectedly, the northern orc had turned around. This left me out of position, and I was in a bit of a scramble in order to deal with him. Unfortunately for the southern orcs, the time for playing around had ended. The time for slaying had begun. Burkhard walks up to a stack of human skulls you've come across. He analyzes their mortal wounds, mostly the fact that their bodies are nowhere in sight. Decapitation is a hell of a thing to survive. Standing back up, he nods. Orcish work, fellas. Study it close lest you join the gallery. You also nod. Tell the men to be aware of the dangers ahead. Be on your guard. So there we were, tramping about the forest, lost. Dangers leaped at us on every turn. Fortune awaited, and the abandoned remains just out of sight. What might happen next? Join me next time for the tale of the Taxpayer Battalion. I am Count Ronald Swan. See you soon.